Irish seafood. Easy to prepare and easy to cook. For everyday meals.
All stations, all stations, all stations. This is Shannon Bantry, Valentia, Cork, Galway Bay and Mizenhead Coast Guard radios with a new small craft warning issued by Mid-Airn at midday, Tuesday the 11th of September. Southwest winds will reach force 6 or 7 and gusty this afternoon.
Today I'm in Kerry and it looks like a beautiful day. I was meant to go on a fishing trip, but the seas are quite rough. In fact, there's a 3-metre swell. So change your plan. I'm on the ferry on the way to Valencia Island to visit the Irish Coast Guard.
Morning, Nevin. Welcome. Pleasure to have you here at Valencia Coordination Centre with the Coast Guard.
Thank you, lovely to be here. This looks absolutely spectacular. Tell me what we're looking at here.
You're looking back to Knightstown in Valencia here, Cahersiveen, Cromwell Point Lighthouse, and you have Begonish Island. And then when you look out then further north, then you're looking at Dingle, across the bay. And then out to the west then we have the Blasket Islands.
How long has the centre been here?
It's here since 1914. They started building it in 1912. It's seen huge history. The last signals to the Lusitania would have come from the station here, what is now our kitchen, where the equipment was in there by Morse code then at that time. So look, would you like to come in and we'll go through what we do here?
Thank you, John.
So, Nevin, this is a map that depicts our area of responsibility for the Coast Guard and where we operate within. So, the division of Valencia itself, we go up to Sline Head and we go down then to about 40 miles south of the Mizenhead. We have our coordination centre here in Valencia. We also have the coordination centre in Malin Head and then the National Maritime Operations Centre in Dublin as well. So, within the Valencia division then, we have our helicopter resources. We'd have Rescue 115 up in Shannon, and then we have Rescue 117 in Waterford. We also then have a network of shore-based resources tend to respond to coastal incidents. We have the Coast Guard units, we cliff rescue, boat rescue, search rescue, and then we have the RNLI, all the weather lifeboats, inshore lifeboats, 7 community rescue service boats within the division here as well, and that's also on the inland lakes as well. So it's quite a big network of resources.
What would happen if you had a vessel or a fisherman who got into trouble out here?
It's probably one of the more frequent type of incidents that we would respond to. In the Valencia division, so far this year, we responded to 46 incidents with fishing vessels. More than likely in that location there, you're about 160 nautical miles from Shannon. And it would be the Shannon helicopter we'd use. If you can picture a fishing vessel bobbing around in a 4 to 5 metre swell and trying to get a winchman on the deck of a fishing vessel and prepare the casualty before they're winched up into the aircraft, it's a hazardous operation.
But I'm fascinated with some of the screens. There's 2 screens there with maps.
Yeah, so the map you're looking at here is the geographical distribution of the incidents up to date this year. 713 for the Valencia division so far this year. The total incidents for the year, I think, is 2008, I think, for the country itself. So we'd expect probably to have 2,600 incidents in the year, in or around. On the other screen there, it depicts the automatic identification system, and that's basically the transponders that show us where commercial vessels are at any one time. If there is an incident with any particular vessel, we have a position of the vessel straight away. And it also gives us a position of vessels that we can use to respond and assist if there is another vessel sinking or in difficulty in any way, if there's a mayday.
So interesting, learning from you, listening to you, how hard you work and the great work you do on protecting and looking after the fishermen. Thank you so much for having me here, John.
You're very welcome.
Gentlemen,
great to have you here.
Great to see you.
Thanks, Evan.
Back to the mainland again to meet Liam Quinlan, who runs a successful fish business with his brothers Ronan and Fintan.
Started in '63. As the years went on, business grew. In the late '70s, we acquired some fishing boats and we got into that end of the business. Then in the early '80s, my father realised that, just selling fish on the hoof wasn't a viable business. You were at the mercy of the markets. So he came up with the idea that we opened a couple of fish shops. We kind of diversified off from selling fish in wholesale, which we still do quite a lot of, to selling fillets and selling in smaller amounts in retail shops that people appreciate the quality and will pay a little extra for it. So hence, we had a better margin in the business. So we opened our first fish and chip restaurant in Killarney 8 years ago. and that's been a runaway success. And we've since opened 5 more of them. And the plans are in the coming 12 months to open another 2.
And it's all your own fish in the shop?
All our own fish, yeah, no middleman, no chain. Okay, the likes of the salmon and that you're buying in from the farms, but the majority of the stuff we're processing and handling ourselves, and we're guaranteeing the freshness of the product.
And do you have your own boats?
Not anymore. We sold the last of our boats in the last 6 months, but we have partnerships with 14 vessel owners that supply us every day of the week with fish.
And what variety of fish would you be catching here?
Quite a lot of hake, monkfish, turbot, brill, dory. Obviously the prime fish like black sole, that's smaller quantities, and the round fish like the cod, the haddock, the hake and the whiting, very, very good quantities of them.
And all your processing is just done in the
All
factory?
our processing is just done in the factory up here, so we'll go up now and we'll look at it. We haven't had a whole lot of whitefish this morning due to the weather, but we're processing Irish organic salmon today, and we're going to smoke them, and I'm going to show you how we do that now. How's that? Now, Nevin, this is where the smoking process begins.
Okay.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll follow the fish that have come in this morning down here. So the first part of the process is where we take the head off the fish, and we'll also make an indentation in the skin so as to leave the salt penetrate into the fish.
And what weight are those fish?
Between 5 and 6 kilos them fish.
And what happens to the heads?
The heads are sent to China, frozen in blocks. When the fish are finished heading, they go through the filleting machine over on this side here, which basically splits the fish into 2 pieces. Takes 95% of the hard work away and also 95% of the bones. There's a fella coming here now, he's coming out,
Yeah,
okay?
see it there.
Yeah. Split into 2 halves, bone removed. What happens then is we'll trim the fish. It goes through another machine here which takes out the little pin bones mechanically, otherwise you would be here for a day and a night. That will remove another 95% of what bones are left. All you're left with is 2 fellas in the neck and a fillet then.
Would this farm salmon be locally farmed?
This is actually from Danish Island, which is only out around the corner here.
Ah.
So the food miles are pretty low.
Couldn't get pressure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The beauty of that is there's traceability the whole way with that. Right, so Nevin, the fish coming out from the pin boning, the next stage is the salting, like I've said. So it's very important, not too much salt on the fish. The fish really needs to absorb what salt is there, and there should be no excess when the salting process is finished. Natural sea salt, nothing else added. Nothing else.
So you put some on the tray, so it's going to penetrate into the
From
skin.
underneath, and if you remember where we cut the fish before,
Okay.
you see that's coming up from underneath, okay?
Do you do any other kind of curing flavour?
We do one with seaweed, which is very popular, and we also do one with rose petals for Valentine's Day. We did last year gone by, this year gone by.
How romantic.
I'm telling you, I'm a romantic at heart. These are left salt away here for approximately 8 to 9 hours, depending on the size of the fish. Here we are at one of the smokers, Nevin, and we fish in the oven that we'll have a look at now. So yes, these are nearly ready.
How do you know?
Well, if you look at the tail of the fish,
Yes.
tail is starting to rise, which means the fish is dry. The drier the product, the tastier the product, as well as it'll last longer. You need to dry the fish in order for the smoke to penetrate the fish. And if you can look, the longer you dry it, you're bringing out the oil, the natural oil,
yeah.
natural oil in the fish, okay?
And is it any particular smoke?
This is oak and beech.
Oak.
The oak is very strong, very, very tarry.
Yeah.
So we mix a bit of beech with that now, just to take the...
And then for how long have they been in there?
They've been in there now since yesterday evening, 5 o'clock, so we're 18 hours.
And how many sides would you have in that smoker?
There's 300 sides in that oven now.
And how do you actually dry the fish before you smoke it?
When they come out of the salt, like I've showed you below, we pat them by hand, make sure they're totally dry, go into the oven. We further dry them in the oven. You extract all the moisture for a further 10 hours. After that, you close your chamber and you smoke the fish. The smoke is penetrating the fish for another 8 to 9 hours.
Does the smoke cook the fish?
No, it preserves as opposed to cooking.
Cold or hot smoking?
Cold smoking,
And the temperature?
26 degrees. No higher, or you're going to cook the fish. You won't be able to slice your fish properly then. If you don't use the proper level of smoke, you're not preserving the fish properly either.
And after it's smoked, what happens then?
After smoke, we chill it, and then it comes into the packing room here, where I'll show you now, and we'll go in there.
Okay.
All right?
Thanks very much.
So, Nevin, fish is smoked now out of the oven. We've left it to relax for a while. So here, Sean, our master smoker, is just starting to trim and slice them.
It reminds me of when we were on our trips in Spain, the Iberico ham, the way they slice.
The same method, yes. And if you were ever to slice the side of smoked salmon like that, always slice from the tail at an angle like Sean is doing. And when you're finished, fold the skin back over on top of the fish again. It'll stop it from drying out.
So he's trimmed it up, removed any little excess bone.
Any excess bone, any excess skin, then they're put into packets, sell in our own retail shop, or exported throughout Europe, where we can have it anywhere in Europe 24 hours.
And where do you export?
All over Europe, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, New York, and every country in Europe, as well as our own retail shops then throughout Ireland.
Any chance of tasting a wee bit?
You better be quick.
No better, man. You're looking for moisture, light smoke?
You're looking for moisture, a little bit of salt, smoke.
Thank you. I take a bit here. Good man.
It's moist. Look, there's a bit of marbling in the flesh.
Yes.
Not too much skin pellicle, and you can smell the smoke.
Yeah. And this is just the one we've seen, you know, the same smoke.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really moist. It's soft.
No, very, very good. Melt in your mouth. So you can see with what we started with and what you have now, you've removed quite a lot.
And with any of these little bits, do you use that up in anything at all?
We'll use them for patty.
Clever.
For making smoked salmon patty.
So no waste.
No waste. No waste.
Liam, it's been fascinating.
Glad you enjoyed
Smoked
it,
salmon.
Nevin.
It's been brilliant. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And a delicious product. Just across the road is O'Neill's The Point, a seafood bar serving the freshest fish imaginable. EJ, it's lovely to be in your kitchen. Thank you for having me here. Tell me about your menu.
There's a daytime menu and a nighttime menu. The daytime is just a simplified version, I suppose, of the nighttime stuff. The hake, I suppose, is very popular. Or what we have here is a hot and cold selection, so it's a little bit of everything. So there's some hake, some crab, some salmon, a bit of shrimp, sort of salad. Back in the 50s, in my grandfather's time, Spanish trawlers would have come in here. The cooks on the boat would show my grandfather how to cook fish, then my father how to cook fish. From La Coruña over to the Basque Country is where all these sailors were from. So that's the influence. It's very much from that part of the world, with a small Irish twist.
So what dish are you going to cook for me today?
We're going to do the hake à la romane.
Perfect. Okay, so what do we do first?
So first we're going to just beat the eggs.
2 eggs, nothing else in it?
Yeah, it depends on the amount of fish you're going to do, but we're going to have 1 portion, so yeah. It's just an egg wash. Just get nice and fluffy. So it's plain flour in a bag, so your pieces of hake.
No skin, no bone?
No, we've filleted it this morning, like it comes filleted. Just take the skin off and put it into nice goujons like that. So into the flour.
And hake is lovely, and in Spain they love the hake.
Absolutely. And it's not that expensive, it's quite affordable fish. Pat it down, just to get the excess of it. You don't want it too... It's a very light batter. There's a very, very light batter, so...
So there's no crumbs in this? No. And could this be done with other fish now? You're using hake.
Any white fish. They're all related fish.
Or would that be a portion now that you've done?
For sure, that's a lunchtime portion. There, yeah.
Lovely.
So, again, just get it, the egg wash over. That's it.
And how do you cook this now?
But just a touch of garlic.
See, quite a bit of oil in there, I see.
Exactly, yeah. So we don't deep fry. It's all pan fried, but you need a bit of oil.
Any particular oil there?
Just regular olive oil. It's a Spanish one we use.
Of course.
Yeah. We've diced bits of garlic, really chopped finely, so you'll see them dancing around.
I love that word, because it's obviously an indication the oil's hot enough.
Exactly. If it's not hot enough and you put the fish in, it kind of goes a bit soggy.
So this is a great dish for people to cook at home for their kids.
100%. Luckily, we have a lot of repeat customers and they've been coming back for years and years. The kids are now grown-ups and still to this day have the hake.
Isn't that brilliant? You know, the beautiful thing about fish, and because you cut it so small, it cooks very fast.
Flash frying it.
Yeah.
So it's 2 minutes, turn it, 2 minutes or a minute and a half. And so if you see the oil starting to burn, so we'll just turn it down a bit. So it's nearly ready. So this is literally how quick it is.
And I think it's something about hake, it's not a strong fish.
It's a very mild fish.
It is.
It's an unfishy fish, if that makes sense. That's the hake. We serve it with a bit of salad. The way the Spaniards used to eat it and the way we used to eat it as kids is on white, crusty bread. Absolutely delicious. By itself is absolutely delicious as well. Simple stuff. So a bit of...
dressing.
Bit of dressing. Lemon on top.
And that's it.
Bit of bread with that as well, and away she goes.
It's a really interesting way of doing a batter now. Oh, beautiful.
Very good.
The only thing I'm missing is a little white rioja or something like that.
So we can manage that as well.
Gorgeous dish, absolutely.
Bordbia, bringing Irish seafood to the world. Bordbia, bringing Irish seafood to the world.
Sometimes in Ireland, the weather isn't great. And if you come to the seaside and you end up with a day like this, you'll need a plan B. Luckily, here in Waterville, there's an activity centre called Sea Synergy. Lucy, thank you very much. It's so nice to be out of the rain. Tell me about Sea Synergy.
You're welcome. So Sea Synergy is a marine awareness and education centre, and we opened in 2014. So we've been running every summer since and get lots of people coming back to explore the ocean with us. From a seashore safari, doing rock pooling, or we might bring them snorkeling, and we do stand-up paddleboarding and kayaking as well. So this is Larry the lobster. The mother lobster would have a lot of eggs in the tank, and this one was the only one that survived for us. It's about 18 months. A lobster takes quite a long time before you will have it big enough to actually eat. So the lobsters that you guys are going to be serving will probably be at least 7 to 10 years old.
What kind of food would a lobster be eating?
Yeah, so they're quite opportunistic. They'll eat any plankton in the water. I have some samples here of plankton. So plankton is anything from fish eggs to little zooplankton, little crustaceans, and even little jellyfish. And these animals would all have been a part of the plankton at one stage. So you can see very small. So they'll eat that, but they also have claws that they use for grabbing hold of the food and crushing the food as well. So they might grab a fish or anything really that's close by to them. This is plankton, which is natural. And unfortunately, we're finding a lot of this stuff in the water now as well. This is actually out of some face scrub. A teaspoon of face scrub, and you've got over 1,000 tiny particles of plastic. So that's called microbeads. In a lot of cosmetics and toiletries, there are microbeads. Obviously, once they're used, they get down the drain and then out into the ocean.
A couple of hours later, the weather had changed dramatically, and the tide had gone out, enabling us to go out and explore the shoreline.
The best time to go rock pooling is when the tide is out, and usually an hour before low tide is the best time.
And when the tide comes in, how deep will the water be now?
So would you believe if the tide was in here now, it'd be up to my shoulders?
Really?
Yeah.
So we need to look.
So we'll have a look and see what we can find anyways.
There's something down here in this rock.
Yeah?
Oh, is that a wee...
Yeah, lovely. Let's see if we can get... There we go. So you have a beautiful common starfish there. And I'll just turn it over so you can see the tube feet.
Oh, you can see them moving.
Yeah, moving and waving. They each have like a suction cup on the end of their tube feet, hundreds of them. That's what will allow it to grip to the rocks and not be pulled off by those strong crashing waves. Could I ask you to lift this rock? If you just lift it back gently. Now we have to wait for the sand to settle. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, and there's 2 of them. Wow. That's pretty amazing. We've got our common shore crab, a large male, and then this is a little female. Both of them are the green shore crab. This one is an older one and has gone slightly red. But here, just on the base, the long, narrow triangle is a male, and then the wide triangle that covers the stomach is the female. In the ocean, lots of things live together. We've got barnacles, and you'll find crabs with seaweed living on them as well.
Lucy, thank you so much for your time. I've learned so much. Your passion is infectious.
Oh, thank you very much, Nevens. Brilliant to have you
here. Your hands are cold? We'll go for a cup of tea, will we?
Cup of tea sounds good.
No time for the tea, in fact, because overlooking the beach where we'd been rock pooling was my next destination, the Smugglers Inn. The Smugglers Inn is a Waterville institution. It was opened nearly 40 years ago by Harry and Lucille Hunt. Nowadays, the head chef is their son, Henry. And they have a daily special menu, and they also have an a la carte menu. And on the a la carte menu, they have a beautiful selection of starters and main courses. So on the starters, you have a crispy prawn and cattafi, 6 oysters naturel, crab Mary Rose, shellfish bisque. And on the main courses, they have their lobster grilled or steamed, monkfish, which is pan-fried, done with curry madras and pineapple salsa, cod baked, and then we have a selection of steaks, chicken. But the dish they're most famous for is their black sole. And here they serve it with the nut brown lemon butter. And I can't wait to see how it's prepared. Henry, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you for having me in your kitchen. You're going to show me how to cook the perfect sole. What are the key tips?
Go to your local mongers and he'll pick out the freshest sole for you. If you want to find out if the sole is fresh or not, you'll see that the fish, it's nice and bright, shiny colour, and the flesh and meat has a fresh smell of the sea.
And of course, this sole is skinned.
Yes.
So tell me how you do that.
There's a little tail on the bottom, and you'll just do a little incision, not all the way through the fish. Pull the skin all the way up. It'll just come off easy, and all you'll do then is turn it around on the other side. Same thing. The side fins, you can get a scissors. The fins will be out in the side, just into those fins all the way up around the sole. So after taking the fins off of the side, you have to get out this bloodline that lies inside the black sole here. Just make a little incision along the belly. In here, you'll see that there'll be bits of blood, and you'll just get the back of a spoon and you can just scrape it out all the way through.
Really important to get
Really
that.
important, because if the blood stays in the sole for any length of time, the flesh of the sole starts to deteriorate very fast, so that bloodline has to come out.
And it's been on your menu for 38 years?
38 years now, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and we have people coming back for it all the time.
The black sole we're using here?
Black sole, they're local sole from the area here.
Okay, let's go and we get cooking. Good
Let's
man.
get a pan hot here now. Put a little bit of oil in there.
Any particular oil, doesn't matter?
You can use like a sunflower oil or vegetable oil is fine. Something that you can pan fry with a high heat and it's not going to burn.
Okay.
Preheat your grill a little bit as well while you're waiting for your pan.
Start on the pan, finish it under the
Yeah,
grill. Okay.
and you want to just get your grill a little bit warm so you can just keep the cooking going. I've got a little bit of salt and cayenne here. We like to use a little bit of cayenne in our seasoning here, but a very small amount. And a little bit of white pepper, but not getting too spicy about it, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So you place one side into the flour.
And white pepper rather than black pepper?
Because the fish is white and we don't like to show the black, just to keep it on the white side.
Yeah.
I'm going to flour the other side. Just pat the fish down, just get the flour to stick. Get your oil in the pan. I'm going to turn it down now because you can see it's hot enough. We don't want to let the flour burn. So a nice pat of flour and you give it a slap. We call it the slap before the pan. There we go.
Ah.
And here we go.
And what you're doing there is just shaking off some excess flour, is it?
That's it, the excess flour, because you don't want it to burn. So then we can start adding a little bit of butter now as well. Just shake the pan around. You're comfortable with your fish that it's not sticking. Turn it to one side.
Oh, look at that.
And we also use the butter brush here as well, which speeds things up during cooking. We can get a little bit of butter over the sole also. This one, Marinier, it's classical.
It is.
And there's butter in it. So I've basted this sole. I want to take the flame off it. It does take a little bit of the heat to penetrate into the middle of it because the bone's in the middle.
That's it.
So you don't want to put it on the high heat where you're going to blast it with heat. And what happens is the flesh starts to crack. So you want to just slow her down a little bit under the grill. And that's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes. Give it a check. Next,
Butter?
we're going to make our marinara butter. We're going to just brown a little bit of butter here. So I think we'll check this sole because I can see here that...
Now, what are you looking for?
Now, if it's ready, this will just come away. See that?
You happy with that?
It's just coming away
Gorgeous.
now. So once this butter here browns a little bit, you can use a little bit of juice from here because you got the juice from the black sole that's come out into the butter. So just put that in there, and that'll just add that little bit extra to it. So now we're going to go with our lemon juice. The lemon juice is going to add that bit of acidity. Just put in a few lemon segments, and that'll kind of just melt into the butter.
That looks gorgeous.
So I can show you how to take off the bone now, which it's very easy. See where the head is here? There's a little bit of meat up here, so you want to cut at an angle. So you're just going to get the knife and cut down and take the head off. We actually cut off the fins, but we still left these little bones because they're all help the flavour of the fish as well. So you're going to press down into them and pull out.
So use a big knife and they come out.
Yeah, we use a big knife here in the kitchen, but you can use a fish knife as well. You can go under like this way and all the way through and down. All right, so I've gotten underneath that. And all you do then, slide it off like so. It's a very rich fish, yeah. Same thing on the other side. Get underneath it, all the way down. All right, and you can use your knife then just to pull it to the side. Get your fish slice now and your palette knife, put it straight on your plate. This is the fun part. Look at that. See the way it's just peeling off? Helping the bone just come off the flesh. Just pull it off. And then grab your 2 fillets. If your fish is big, you can just have a half each. Even though we took the bone out, you want the shape of the sole to show. We just have a couple of lemon segments you can put over it. And we have our marinara sauce that we did earlier. Put a little bit of the parsley into it at the end.
Keep it nice and fresh.
Yeah, that's it. We like to see the colours.
Okay.
I have capers here as well.
So what do the capers do? Bring a bit of saltiness?
Yeah,
is it?
that bit of acidity and saltiness to it. And the marinara is warm. as well. It's quite hot after cooking the butter, so the capers go in at the end is not to overcook them. We're just going to put a little bit over the black salt. We have some microcress. You can just use parsley if you want. And we also made some of these squid ink twills today. It's just squid ink, oil, flour, water.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Shake it up, put it into the pan, and you get a little web out of them. Give it that little bit extra, and that's enough. You don't have to do anything else
And that
with
gives a bit of crunch to that,
That does, yeah. It's
ready to be tasted?
Yeah, hope it's good.
Look at the way that just flakes away. As you said, it's lovely and soft. What would you serve with this in the restaurant?
Quite simple as well. We might do some, in the summertime, some baby new potatoes. You enjoyed it?
Oh, what? That is superb.
Thanks very much. Glad you enjoyed it,
Thanks,
Nevin.
Henry.
Glad to have you
Continued
here.
success. Thank you.
Irish seafood. Easy to prepare and easy to cook. For everyday meals.